Welcome to dopeYEAH.
Cool place. Look at the vibe. This is nice.
Have a seat. I met with Myles following his fabulous previous night's performance at the dopeYEAH Club. Myles is a singer, songwriter and producer. He grew up in Ghana and moved to Cambridge in the UK aged 16. We talked about his Ghanaian roots, where music was everywhere, the influence of hip-hop and freestyling, and getting his first big break busking in Cambridge, which is where his career took off. He chatted about how he met and worked with Gregory Porter, his songwriting process, dream collaborations, worst gigs, best gigs, his love for live performing, and the roller coaster that is the life of a musician. Finally, Myles told me about how wonderful it had been recently working with a full orchestra for his upcoming new album. Myles Sanko. Singer, performer, writer, producer, welcome to dopeYEAH.
Pleasure.
Thanks for coming and doing the podcast.
It's a pleasure to be here. Lovely space, lovely vibe.
You did a brilliant show here last night. Everybody thought it was fabulous. How was it for you? How did you feel about it?
It was cool. It was really cool. I mean, it's a different setup in regards to having the audience kind of circling around you, and also down at the bottom. So it's definitely a new experience for me. But there's something nice about it. It had a sort of an old school jazz club vibe where everybody's kind of intimate. And I can remember on the come up, playing smaller venues and having people, the audience really close to you, and you can really feel and connect with these, with the public. And you kind of felt that in here last night. So that was nice.
And you brought your band with you from London as well.
Yeah, my guys from London, my usual crew that I play and I travel with, and we all enjoyed it. It was super cool.
And how does that work with the guys? Because you live in France now, don't you?
I live in France now. I live in. I run away from the UK a little while ago.
Okay.
And that works fine. I mean, before I moved out of the UK, we do 95 or maybe more % of the shows, involves taking a flight. So for me, it was kind of a no-brainer to I can still make it work so long as I can get to a major airport. So it's all good. The guys fly from the UK, I fly from wherever I am, and we meet and we do our thing.
Amazing. And so so you've been moving around quite a lot in your life. You've obviously moved to France, but you're originally from Ghana.
Yeah, I was born in Ghana.
Yeah.
I was born in Ghana. My mother's Ghanaian, and my father is French. Yeah, so that's my heritage. But then I moved to the UK, and that's part of my heritage. But growing up as well, we moved around a lot because of my father's occupation as a sailor, a captain. And so every once in a while, I do like to move, regardless. So it's kind of in my blood. I'm a traveler.
So you got to the UK when you were 16, is that right?
No, much younger.
Was it?
Yeah, back and forth. So my parents, unfortunately, parted ways. And my mother had a business in Cambridge. And that brought us to Cambridge with my mum.
What age were you?
I first kind of moved to the UK when I was 9.
Right.
9. I think we stayed about a year, came back when I was 11, and then went back to Ghana. Parents tried to fix things again, the usual. That didn't happen. And then officially kind of came back in 96 when I was 16, yeah.
So have you ever kind of gone back and tried to rediscover Ghanaian music? I mean, I've been researching quite a lot of it since I knew you were coming, and
Ghanaian music,
High Life.
High Life, yes.
And and what was the other one as well? High Life, and was it? Trying to think of what it is now.
High Life is the most popular.
Yeah, there's two forms, isn't there? Hip Life.
Yeah, I mean, this since me growing up. I mean, Ghana music is in me.
Right.
I don't need to go and rediscover it. Yes, music evolves and, you get different trends and so on, but the essence of where it's coming from is always the same. And that you can find in my music if you really want to look. It's in my music. It's in every single little part of the rhythms, the melodies. That's within me. So I bring that in my music. Consciously, unconsciously, it's there. And maybe down the line, with other albums I'm going to produce, I might highlight it a bit more. It's in my peripheral to probably do something like that.
So with your home life, excuse me. So with your home life, sort of who was influencing you? Have you got older brothers or sisters that were?
I've got an older sister, no older brothers. It's just the music that was around. Mother, uncle. Uncle's a djembe percussionist. There's kind of music everywhere. In Africa, there's music everywhere.
Sure.
Music is everywhere. Whether you're in Africa or you're in Scandinavia or wherever it is, music is everywhere. But in Africa, somehow, music is intertwined with everyday life in the sense that you're not just like consuming music. When I use that word consuming, it might sound a little bit negative, but it's not. That's what we do. I remember when I was a kid, we had a carpenter just across the street, and when he was chiseling, doing whatever he was doing or hammering, he would hammer with rhythm. That made it more. So instead of just like hammering away, he'd be hammering. That was it. When you go to the beach, fishermen are fishing. They get the canoes. They go out for fishing when they have to pull this huge nets full of fish. Guys will come and line up behind the net, and they'll sing a song, so everybody's in rhythm to pull the net out of the sea at the same time.
Incredible.
So they'll be singing the song and all pulling on rhythm on.
Wow.
And so it's
part of the DNA.
Yeah, music is everywhere. But in regards to Black American music, it was being played at home. There was funk on the radio. There's African Ghanaian music, high life being played, soul music, reggae, Baaba Maal. Everything was happening. It was a big melting pot. And I was born in the 80s, and at that time, music was interesting in the 80s. But there's great stuff that came in the 70s that was still happening. 70s for me was magical time for music. So a lot of that kind of influenced me, and I applied that in my music.
Well, there was also the acid jazz scene in London at the time, and Soul to Soul and Karen Wheeler, and so that must have been because that was huge at the time.
Yeah.
So towards the end of the 80s especially, it was like massive.
Yeah, and for me in the 90s, hip hop was my love. Hip hop is what I fell in love with, and hip hop had elements of everything that I liked in regards to jazz, soul, funk, and everything else. And I was, late 80s was the birth of hip hop. So hip hop for me, it was a natural progression of Black American music, and within hip hop, all elements of jazz, soul was in there. So I can I understood it, and I digged it, and that was what kind of grabbed me. And as I was listening to hip hop records, you can then discover the samples that were used, and go back to the original record and so on. And then say, so actually, what you really like is that jazz record, or that melody here, or this line here, or whatever it is. Yeah. So yeah.
So which hip hop artists in particular?
Sorry?
Which hip hop artists were you influenced by?
Oh man, KRS-One, De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest, Rakim, Guru. Name it. The list goes on, and then there's modern stuff. The Roots, Common. I was more into the how would you say it? And there's neo soul, the neo soul kind of vibe, and so on. And that also you find in my music. Even though I'm doing soul jazz, but there's elements of hip hop that I bring from my.
And even elements of rock as well. You kind of mix it all in there, don't you?
Absolutely. My first album, Born in Black and White, was composed with Thierry Laws, a composer from Paris, and he comes from a sort of a rock background, and he brought that. And if you think about rock, some of the rock progressions are very soulful too. Is how you produce, how you bring it together in the end that will define maybe the genre. But at the end of the day, a chord is a chord.
Yeah, well, they often said that funk is just speeded up blues. It's like,
there you go.
Yeah, everybody's coming from the same pot. You know what I mean? That's the amazing thing about it. But always interested in sort of the roots of. I'm Irish, and I'm kind of rediscovering my kind of Irish musical roots, and which I loved Irish music when I was a kid. So when I meet new people, I'm always curious. That's why I asked the question in the first place. Like, have you ever felt the need to kind of really sort of dig into Ghana music and kind of and find new things, new things you maybe missed on the
yeah.
way up, you know, because it's obviously you probably more gravitate, is it fair to say, towards American music than African music at the time? When you're a kid, you're living in the UK, it's like...
It's what's hip,
Yeah,
what was happening, what was cool, you know, you'll kind of gravitate to what you know, what was cool. And most of the time, you know, what's on your doorstep is not cool. The grass is always greener on the other side, you know, as you say. So when it comes to music and so on, and that was what was happening there. That was what was played on the radio. That was what was, you know, there were the hits. Michael Jackson, you know, I was in love with Michael Jackson. You know, we're talking Thriller, 80s. This is you know, and then you discover Quincy. You know, Quincy's the one that's, you know, behind producing this, and then you go into this tangent and so on, and try to educate yourself musically on things that have come before, you know, before you, and how you can kind of apply that. But yeah, like I said, when it comes to you know, Ghanaian music, and you know, Africa is a huge continent. There's so many different types of music. But when it comes to Ghanaian music, it's in me, and I apply that to my music. And there'll be a period where I'll feel like I need to go and dig and find something maybe that I missed, and that will give me some inspiration, because that's what we want. That's what we're looking for, inspiration, so we can recreate and create something to inspire others. Yeah.
Do you know Baaba Maal? Do you know the artist Baaba Maal? He's a good friend of mine. I've worked with Baaba over the years, and I found he really introduced me to a lot of African music, which was just, I found glorious, you know, especially that sort of, his lyrics were incredible as well, very, very strange and funny. Once I asked him, like, sort of, you know, what's that particular lyric about, Baaba? And he said, that's about a woman who's in love with a hippopotamus. And like, I won't ask anyone, but all these really strange tales, and a lot of it was metaphor and whatever, but it was like, he just would sing, and just the hairs on the back of your neck would go up. He's like, it's like the sound of an angel singing. He was just amazing. But so you got to the UK, you're young, so there was no real transition for you, was there? Obviously, it's difficult to remember moving from Africa and coming to the UK. It's cold.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you remember that period?
Well, growing up, you know, UK is cold, but, you know, like I said, you know, I have French heritage. My father's French, from Breton, from Brittany.
Right.
And you know, we go back and forth. You know, before I officially moved to the UK.
Should you acclimatized?
Yeah, you know, and so you know, and there's no culture shock either, because I have both cultures, you know, inside me. You know, when it comes to European culture and a Ghanaian culture, so there wasn't that. There were elements of being perceived as different. You know, perceived as different. That's something that I had to kind of deal with at a young age, and even growing up in Africa. Even though I felt Ghanaian as any other Ghanaian, my other peers, Ghanaians, also perceived me as different. So there was always this element of being different on whatever side I went, or whatever side I was, I happened to be at. So there was that element, but all in all, yeah, I was a little kid just trying to find my way.
And then did you, like, how was your development from, like, finding musicians to play with? I mean, how early did that start, and how did that, talk us through that process? Yeah,
that process. For me, music is a strange thing for me. I find it's mystical, it's magical. I don't get it. I'm part of it. It comes naturally to me, and I love it. So the whole me sitting here or performing last night, or where, you know, or the places that I go and do, you know, I feel a bit of an imposter, because it's just what I do, and it's not like I've been to a super university to learn how to sing. I just woke up one day and I wanted to sing, and I'm singing, and that's it, you know. So hip hop was my love. I started rapping, and from rapping, I decided, maybe I can express myself with fewer words and do what Marvin Gaye does, or do what, you know, Bill Withers does. So that's all I did. I started singing my raps at work when I went, you know, with friends, and they're like, "Wow, actually, yeah, you can actually sing." So that was, you know, almost like you know, they were telling me I was getting some kind of feedback. But then I knew that I always had this dream of wanting to be to be music, to be a musician, and it just kind of happened. I had friends around me in Cambridge that were DJs, and they were playing funk and soul, and maybe focusing on bread groove and stuff like that. And always, most of the time, on the B-sides, you have an instrumental, and that was where I came in. So I created a little scene for myself locally where my friends would DJ and I will sing and freestyle, because I'm coming from a hip hop background, and freestyling is comes second to none. It's what you do. That's how you cut your teeth. You have to be a good freestyler. So I'll be singing like James Brown, singing like Marvin Gaye on the B sides, on the instrumental sides, and I start getting a name for myself locally, and then word gets around, and there's a producer called Davey Pollitt. And he has worked with Andrew Rocheford, some other musicians, and he was trying to produce a record. And one of my DJ friends said, "You got to meet this young kid. He can really sing." So I meet Davey for the first time, and he plays me this track he was working on. I just grabbed the mic and I start singing, and he's like, and that was kind of the beginning of my journey of becoming a professional sort of musician. So we hit it off, and then we decided to work together. And I get my sister involved, my younger sister. She's a rapper as well. So we create a group together, and we called it Métis, and I was singing and she was rapping. And we produced a first album, more like an EP, and we had some success on BBC Radio locally, doing some festivals and so on. But I just wasn't satisfied enough at that point. I wanted to have a funk band, a soul band, and that's when one of my friends came and said, "Yo, I know some guys that doing some stuff. You should meet them." And I met these guys with the aim of writing and composing these songs to work, with them. And we met up for the first time for a rehearsal just to jam together. And I gave them the songs. This is what I want you to play. This, you play this, you play that. This is what I want. So they tried out, and they were just like bored as hell. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, this is not working. This is not working at all. So I go, guys, let's forget it. Let's scratch it. You play whatever you want to play. You play whatever, and let's just vibe here tonight, and let's see if we have some connection.
Some more improv, really.
Yeah. And boom, that was it. We had so much fun, and that was the second step of me almost going solo and creating my journey and a scene in Cambridge for myself. And this was a band that I put together. It was more of a funk, freestyle, freeform, progressive, with elements of rock and stuff like that. And we just got together, and I freestyled, and they played. So then slowly we got better, and I started orchestrating the band almost, and there was a James Brown-esque thing to it. Mind you, at that time I was still relatively young. I was 20.
Did you find them when they made mistakes?
No, I think we didn't go that far. But no,
as James used to do.
No, we didn't have a stage. And in Cambridge, you could busk for free, no license. You can do whatever you want to do in terms of that. And that's how we created an audience. Right. I had a megaphone. I play percussion as well. So I played the djembe. You have a megaphone. We go out in the streets with high watts, and we played on Saturday nights, Friday nights, in front of clubs and so on. And from there, we just created we became local heroes, in Cambridge. And from there, some of the bigger clubs that were doing having real musicians, at those times, would then give us there's a club in Cambridge called La Raza, and it's like a jazz club, and they gave us a residency every Tuesday, because one of the guys was sat in front of our Friday spot, and he was like, "You guys need to come." So that's our first step, residency. We started playing every Tuesday night. Then we moved on to the big club Saturday night up at the top, and this is all freestyling,
amazing.
Just improvising. We get people coming and say, "Can you play the song you played last week?" You're like, "What are you talking about?" And so I really, it was basically, I learned how to be a performer, and with doing that.
Brilliant. Well, even, busking is a very noble profession in my book. Lots of amazing people. Ed Sheeran used to busk, lots of fabulous people I know. I've done it myself back in the day.
Forced, instant audio. You got an audience.
Yeah, and you better deliver. It's hardcore. You're out on the street. It's like you start singing. Is anybody going to stop? And then the crowd builds.
If it's good, it's good, and they'll tell you, because no one, that's it. And I'm a businessman at the same time, so I start to print T-shirts and record our jams and selling merch. And before you know it, I have a business. You know, we're making money. I buy a van, I fill it up with equipment, and we're going all over the country. We do a tour around Europe, blah, 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 so on and so on. And then from there, I then slowly transitioned to being a solo artist, Myles Sanko, where I can now put the musicians that I've gone along the way. But throughout that transition, I also became a promoter, music promoter. I was promoting music at La Raza, became a promoter of La Raza. I used to do jazz nights, soul nights, and I met other musicians that I wanted to work with. So I handpicked the musicians. That's some of the guys. Tom O'Grady, he's from Cambridge.
Brilliant.
Rick Hudson wasn't there. It's Rick Ellsworth. Rick Ellsworth, percussionist, also a drummer. And now is my lead drummer in the band. He's from Cambridge. So I handpicked those guys to work on my first album, Born in Black and White, and we recorded, and that was the birth of the Myles Sanko that you know.
So that all emanated from busking.
Basically,
literally, it's a bit like doo-wop, isn't it? In the 40s, you know, with people would stand on street corners and sing, and you know, and I think the beauty of that is sometimes it's just for the joy of doing it as well. People getting together, and if you really want to do something, you'll find the space, even if it is the street. You know,
absolutely.
Someone won't give you a gig, you'll just find a corner and you'll do it because you want to say something.
That's it, and basically that's what we did, and that's kind of snowballed, and if it's good, I can connect with people. That's my thing, and it doesn't matter what I'm singing, I find a way to connect with people, and that's the important thing. So I'm connecting, and I'm continuing to connect, and I just connect, and that's it, really.
So, the record that changed your life, I know you say you love hip-hop, and I understand that, I like hip-hop myself. So what was the one record that really changed everything for you?
That's really, really hard to say. I remember one thing, something that sparked in my mind. I think I was 12, and I was walking back from school with one of my best friends at that time. And he just had one of the new Walkmans, you know. And you remember them?
I do. They're fabulous. I had one myself. I loved it.
And he was the coolest kid that in school at that point. And we were walking back, and he was listening to a Prodigy. And maybe it might have been Firestarter. It's no less the song. There was something about it. And we're walking. I said, "Can I listen?" I put those headphones on, and we're walking. And there's something clicked in my mind. I want to do this. This is what I want to do.
Brilliant.
And from there, it was a journey at that point. Me trying to, something happened that day. So it's not necessarily a record. It could be, It's
obviously the excitement of Firestarter is a fantastically exciting track.
Yeah.
You know, the Prodigy. I mean, that's just a killer tune.
Just something happened that day, and from then I started going out looking for music, instead of passively listen to other people's music, you know. And I think Nina Sherry came in there. I went and bought one of her records. No money, man.
Love Nina Sherry.
And so on. So I was then trying to collect my own music, and. Yeah, my journey, I can tell you, it's mystical. It's strange. I don't understand it. I just do it, and I'm doing it.
Well, you've obviously got loads of drive, and that's a huge, as we know, part of being good. You know, good at anything or successful or anything. You need drive.
Yeah.
And lots of drive, and it's a tough gig. Let's be honest. Being in the music industry is tough, and you better. It's not for the faint-hearted. Let's be honest. But obviously, a moment came where you thought, okay, I think I can do this. Was there a moment as a singer, you felt that when you played the first proper show you played where, okay, I'm connecting. I know these people get me. Can you remember a moment like that?
And again, to pinpoint one, I've done so many. I've done so many, and it's happened so organically. You see, so there was no, this is what you're going to do now, and then you're going to do this, and you're going to do that. Everything's just happened organically, you know. And maybe it was maybe me just grabbing the microphone with my DJ friend and singing on a B-side. And at that moment, everybody just turns around. What's that voice? You know, at those moments when I knew I had something, and I've got to do something with this, and this feels good. This feels really good. You know, at this moment here, I am you know, I'm meaning something to these people.
You're connecting.
I'm connecting. You know, I can make them feel good, and I carry that on still. It's like my position here is to connect with you and bring you some kind of joy that you're going to walk away from this meet and take some hope. Yeah, for tomorrow. You know, that's the thing, and I try to transmit that through my music and when I perform. Yeah, so it all happens so organically. So to pinpoint a moment. But definitely, it was one of those many moments in the beginning where I connected with people, and it just felt good, and I just kept doing it and kept doing it. Be stubborn, and just kept doing it and kept doing it.
Yeah, stubbornness is a good quality to have when you're in music. And you toured with Gregory Porter as well. That must have been a high point.
Man, absolutely. And those are the moments I remember. So I self-produced my first record, Born in Black and White. I released that, and then I have a. We'll probably get to this at some point, but then I produced my next album, Forever Dreamin', and that one I said I'm going to crowdfund it. I'm going to see if these people that say they love my music are prepared to help me.
Put their hand in their pockets.
Yeah, put a hand, you know, that kind of thing, and it was successful. Bam, here we go. You know, so I do this record, and from the back of this record, I get in. I don't know if you know of a band called Speedometer.
Yeah, I do actually.
So Speedometer, Lee Gracie, band leader Speedometer, he was going to produce this next record, Say It Loud, and he was Googling online for soul singer in UK, and he sees a video of me in the middle of the street with a megaphone singing to a huge crowd of people around me. And he decides to get in touch and say, "Hey, Myles, I'm trying to record a new record. Would love to have you on this record. And guess who's going to be on one of the guests? It's going to be Martha High, backing vocalist, 35 years with James Brown." And I'm thinking, oh, you know, what an honor. I'm gonna duet with one of the greats. I've watched videos of Martha High singing with James Brown. I didn't believe it, but here we go. So I go in the studio. We do the recording. We record the album and everything else. And Gracie offers me the position to be a part of the band. So for a couple of years, I was a member of Speedometer, and I can remember the first time where I were in Manchester. So I got it. So this is me doing my freeform band called dopeYEAH. That's the name of the band. And then from there, I get picked to join the Real Boys.
How long was that band going for?
dopeYEAH. dopeYEAH was formed in, I would say it was 2007, around 2007, and I ended it to move to my next in about 2010.
So 3 years.
Yeah, about 3 years. Three years. And I was handpicked to put in this real world environment, like real music. Well, here we go. We're real musicians. We're this tour schedule. I am going to be singing on stage with Martha High. We're going to Japan. We're going here. You know. So this is happening, and it's pretty exciting. And me doing this gave me some more, like a little tap on the shoulder. Man, you're capable. You're good enough. And I remember I was in Manchester. Martha High wasn't there yet. I'm doing I Feel Good. We're doing a James Brown cover.
Right.
And I love James Brown. So I'm there, I'm singing my heart out doing James Brown, and suddenly Martha walks in. And I'm thinking, my heart is beating, and I'm singing away. And she's looking at me, she sat in the corner, and I finished the song, and then she just starts clapping. And that was a big moment for me. It was a moment where I'm doing James Brown, and Martha High claps after I finish singing, and then I go over and introduce myself, and she goes, "Wow, you know, fantastic! What a great, performance of James Brown." And she straight away, the first time I met her, she already, you know, made me feel at ease. And from there, we just became, you know, we became closer. And I was just picking at her, you know, trying to find out more things about James Brown.
Get the dirt on James.
She shared so many stories, and it was fantastic. So, you know, so that was me doing, you know, getting a taste of the real world, the real, you know, real musicians, what real musicians do, and almost being being welcomed, you know, in a certain way, saying you're good, you're okay.
Affirmation.
Yeah, that's the thing. And from the back of that, we're in Granada, and we do a show. Martha High is done, everything else. We Speedometer, and I don't know if you're Eddie Pillar. Mm-hmm. Eddie Pillar's DJing in a little club in Granada, after party from the show. I look at Eddie, he's there. I say, Eddie, do you want me to sing? And Eddie was like, who's this guy? Well, he's a singer Speedometer. Oh, all right, okay, give him the mic. So he plays the B-side, and I'm doing exactly what I was doing when I was a young kid. I'm there singing, and Eddie's like, who's this kid? Cameras come out, everyone's filming, and we hit it off, and everything was cool that night. And a couple of weeks later, I get an email from Dan, the organizer of Baltic Soul Weekender, where Eddie's proposed for me to go and freestyle with all the DJs in the festival.
Brilliant.
So I go, I have free pass. I'm moving from room to room, and then this time I'm in Hamburg. I get to meet some of the current Mousse T.
Yes.
Producer for Tom Jones. Yeah. So I meet Mousse T. I meet so many people on that weekend, that soul weekend. And from the back of that, Mousse T calls me. I'm friends with Mousse T now. We've worked on a record together. I get called from here, there, and everywhere. And suddenly I get a call from another DJ that says, "Oh, there's a label I think you should speak to." And then that's how I found the label that I'm licensed my music through now, which is Légère. So Légère then licensed my Forever Dreaming. This is the stories coming out here. Forever Dreaming, and Forever Dreaming is my second album. And that's the album that Gregory heard, and the album just came out. I remember this particular day. We're in Manchester doing a radio show with Craig Charles on BBC Radio 6, and I get this text saying Gregory Porter would like you to do would join him on his German leg of his tour. It's like, wait a minute, and I was a fan of Gregory Porter at that point. I couldn't believe it, but you can only do it on piano and vocal.
Right.
And I was like, it doesn't matter.
Whatever way.
Whatever way.
I'm turning up.
You know, but the funny thing is, I met Gregory maybe 2 months before that in Bury St. Edmunds. Backstage. We went to the show, and I snuck my way backstage. Like, by this stage, I know some people. I know some people that know some people. So, and first thing that Gregory said when he saw me, he goes, "You're a musician, right?" And I said, "Yes, Myles, nice to meet you." So we sat, we hanged out with Chip and everybody else, and just hang for it. So to then get this, I don't know how it happened altogether, but to then get this text and this call fire my label saying this is what's going to happen. So that was another almost a confirmation that you're okay.
You're in the gang now.
It's a little boy from Ghana. You're okay. You're good. My organic journey's happening. So you're fine. And I remember when first show in Mannheim, German crowd, very polite. I love them now. But I remember when I was doing that show, that you could hear a pin drop, and they're thinking, who the hell is this guy? We want to see Gregory Porter. Who the hell is this guy? And there's Tom O'Grady on the piano, and I'm there, and they could hear a pin drop, and my heart is beating. And then here we go. I go for it. And that's no turning back from there. The audience just standing ovation from show to show to show. And then Greg is like, I need to watch you.
Once you get that adrenaline rush from a show like that, that's it. You're hooked for life.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And that was good, and it was fun. It was fun working with Gregory. And then after this, Gregory's booking agent, Myles, I have to work with you. You're good. So then, boom, I'm now with a big agent, and I do more shows with Gregory. And it was nice. It was good. It made me. I'm put in front of Gregory Porter's audience, and they're loving what I'm doing, so that just gives me more reassurance, and that, what I'm doing is right, is good. And the journey continues,
So you mentioned there's a Tom O'Grady?
Tom O'Grady, yeah.
So Tom O'Grady, have you written a lot of songs with Tom, yeah?
Tom, we were, yeah. So Memories of Love right here. We collaborate together. Just me and me. My previous album, we collaborate together, and we're now working on my fifth album. And so we work together. We're close. We're close. We compose together. He's kind of the more and more as the years go, he understands what I love his playing. I love his ear. He's very attentive and to translating my ideas. So yeah, we work together. A lot of times I do my own thing, but most of the times I like to work with Tom O'Grady.
And how does that process work? Does he send you piano, or you send him melodies, and you work remotely, or do you get together? How does it?
So it's interesting in my creative process, my very unorthodox. Well, maybe it's not. So every single day, thank God for the smartphone. So my smartphone is full of music. And it's probably the most valuable thing on my possession at any time. So
sure.
You get ideas. You speak to somebody. You watch something. You see an image. You see some colors. I document all those things. And as one line is the beginning of a song. That's all it takes. It takes a line, a note, a word to inspire a song. So I'm constantly documenting snippets of my future albums, my future songs, and my future so on. So that's on my phone. I'm doing bass. I'm a very good beatboxer, so I beatbox my bass lines. I'm doing my melody lines. I'm doing everything's on my phone, and I do that throughout as I go. And then when it comes to creating an album, I just get my headphones and go revisit those moments. And some of them will just pass me by, and some of them are just like, bam, now I know why I wrote this line, or I sung this melody, or this rhythm, this beat, or whatever it is. And then I'll put a working title, and then I'll put it aside or re-sing another B section to it. And that's my process. So it's either snippets of lyrics, lines, that's not yet a song, but it's the basis of what it's gonna be, because it meant something to me at that moment. And then I go, so the process starts like that, and I'll say, we're doing album number 5, here we go, it's time to do it. Every 2 years I do an album. And I'll get all those ideas together, and then I'll give Tom a call. We have 4 days. You sit next to me, let's go. And I'll go through my phone and I'll start getting out those ideas, and Tom will sit next to me, and I'll sing melody lines to him, and we'll work it all out together, and we'll get the basis of this shape, a little shape, A section, B section, C section together. And then Tom will just vanish, overworked for 4 days of, I like to get into this, kind of like a zone. So we do 35, 40, compositions of ideas, and then I whittle that down to 15, maybe 20. And then from there, everybody leaves me alone, and I'll start arranging, I'll add my melodies, I'll add my lines, and I'll MIDI the whole song.
Right.
And then so I have a version of a song that I can change, I can move, I can structure, I can do whatever. And from there, I say, musicians, my guys, listen to this. What'd you think about it? And then the guys will listen to it. And sometimes they help me pick where, songs that I most of the time probably I know where it needs to go, but they kind of help me pick. And then we go in the studio and record, we've got a demo version, record the music. And at this time, my lyrics are either finished or not finished or maybe finished. That's the cherry on the top. I always leave that till the end. And then once everything is recorded and I'm happy, I'll do my guide vocal and everything, then everybody just leaves me alone, and then I'll get lost in my message at that point. So that's mainly my process.
And narratively, sort of, where did you get your inspiration from? Like, sort of your themes, in the sense that, because I think I read somewhere, you add in politics into it a little bit as well. And, then I was obviously thinking of, Let's Get It On by Marvin Gaye. And is there something you want to say in that respect as well? Or do you avoid that?
No, I mean, politics is everyday. It's everyday life. It's there. It's, the price of my electric bill, or whatever it is. Politics it's in there. Politics, so that naturally just, is part of my music. The world inspires me, and you can see by my process, I'm just documenting my year or my day or whatever it is, So I get inspiration from everything that's around me, my experiences, and then I try to, and I still believe in the album. As much as it's no, you know, it's about the playlist now, but I still believe in that. And the creation of an album, the concept of an album, I still believe in that. So those little ideas have to come together under this umbrella, which is the album and the concept. You know, and my last one is about memories, these special memories that replay in your mind. Smells, it's a memory, and sometimes you just smell something that just opens this little pocket in your mind of happiness or sadness or whatever it is, and that was the feature. So I'll get my next album will be a concept, and I'll go through my little ideas to then try and steer everything in the direction of where I needed it to go.
So, do you work from the basis of a hook? And this is getting a little nerdy, but as songwriters, you know, I've worked with lots of different songwriters. And I personally always have to start with a hook, like a theme, or do you start with verses? Just curious about that part.
It's a combination. Hooks. I'm good at hooks. You know, if you're going to be a writer, you need to be good at hooks. I get most of the time. Yeah, you get a nice hook, and then to try to elaborate and you know, expand that hook to tell the story.
It's like the title of the movie, and then you build a story.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah. So, but you know, but sometimes I'll have a good verse without a hook, and that then has to inspire a hook that's worthy of you know, celebrating that verse or whatever. So, but a bit of both, really.
So have you ever? Again, I'm kind of repeating myself here, but on the sort of narrative side, it's like politically, like obviously Let's Get It On got him into a lot of trouble, and Berry Gordy didn't want to put out the record, and I love that record. Funny enough, when I was researching, I was listening to it and kind of, and I was thinking of you, and I was like, it's like, it is difficult for artists to bring up those subjects sometimes, because, you know, labels and generally people try to shy you away from getting too political, because I know Berry Gordy didn't want to release that record, and Marvin Gaye just pushed it, and it was a really important record, one of the great records of all time, you know, but he stood his ground, and he just decided that it was going out no matter what. And so do you ever feel you have to sort of, you watch what you say when you're writing?
No, I think just being me, there's songs like This Ain't Livin, which inspired by Inner City Blues. You know, I said if I could write, if I was in a position to write a song like Marvin Gaye, what would it be? What's my version of it, the story? And This Ain't Livin is you could say it's political. You could say it's reflective, but the message is you know. Revolutionizing your mind. You know, we need a revolution of the mind, and how you look things. You know, how we perceive things, and also coming from a person of color, whatever you can say, you can't say it. How people perceive, how you perceive yourself, how the world perceives you. You know, can you visualize the world with your eyes closed or with it open? So yeah, this, you know, I think. I don't hold back. I like people to enjoy my song on the first listen, the melodies, the rhythm, and everything else, and then on the second listen they go in. Oh,
the devil's in the detail.
Yeah, there you go. So for me, it sounds great if it gives you a positive vibe, but when you start breaking it, and that's where I hook my fans. My fans that stayed with me and stay with me and continue to stay with me is because of my words, because of what I say, how I say it. How I put it together, because they dig it, they dig a little deeper, and then they can see what I'm trying to say. And I think for me that's so important. You can sing a happy song, but then just have another layer underneath it that means something. Because if you're gonna say something, say something.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the perfect way to kind of look at it. Collaborations, if you were to have one, who would it be?
I get asked this question.
Well, we're in the time of collaborations. They happen so much now in music, and for a lot of different reasons. But
yeah, I mean, would I ever do a collaboration? Maybe I would. I'll do one with Gregory. How about that? That'd be cool.
That's not too shabby.
That's not too shabby. That could be a fun one.
And would you do something around the same?
I do one with Bill Withers, but he's no longer around.
That's true. Yeah, he'd be amazing. So you've kept in touch with Gregory over the years now. So is he? Would you call him a mentor? Is he helping in any way, or is he just?
No, not really. Gregory's doing his thing. I mean, we share this same kind of management, agents and so on. But I'm my own boy. I'm doing my own thing now. There's that moment that Gregory gifted me to open up for him in front of his German audience, and that's given me a really good kickstart, and I'm appreciative of that.
Because those people are important in your life. We all need them, no matter who you are, what artist. Those people who help you along the way.
Absolutely, and I'm absolutely grateful for that. But I'm my own boy now, and now I've got to do my own thing. Get out there and do my own thing.
I mean, obviously, probably one of the Gregory gigs was a highlight, but a bit of fun, like worst gig, best gig.
Worst gig, best gig. Oh, worst gig. Oh, I know now. I've got one now.
Everybody does.
This was just post-pandemic, and I don't know if everybody remembered, but musicians anyway. Mm-hmm. Everything was locked down. You couldn't fly you had to do tests. You had to do this. There were red zones.
Sure.
UK was in a red zone for a while, so you couldn't,
That's right.
And 18 months without a single show, and then suddenly just, my agents are working again, and shows are coming back in. But I can't work with my band, my guys, my boys. We had a Skype a Skype together. Actually, not a Skype, a Zoom. We had a Zoom together, and I was like, guys, I'm gonna have to get another band in France, and I need to get one in Spain too. And that was basically So they were okay with it. They understood the situation. So I got a band from Paris, and we did some shows in Paris. And the guys were okay, some good musicians. But one guy gave me my worst show ever. We had a festival, and he got completely drunk. Completely drunk. I'm not going to go into the detail, but he got completely drunk. And the night ended with him being arrested, going to the police station throughout the whole thing. And I had to cut the show halfway through because it was completely. So that was a nightmare.
What was he playing? What instrument?
Piano.
Oh God.
And it's such So that was my worst. Best show. Every show. I'm going to be cheesy right here. I'm going to say every show is a good show. I mean, it's hard to say. Every show carries something special that just makes you want to do it again. Little moments. It's more about self-reflection. Like we were saying, we were outside. We were saying, I was telling you that we leave every show, whether we feel it's a great show or a bad performance or experience and so on, is very within you. I've done some great shows, but every it's about the next one.
Well, the next one is Ronnie's.
The next one is
leading on to that.
Yes,
that's a pretty iconic gig to do.
Absolutely, and I say sharing sweat.
Yeah.
That's the stage with such great musicians that have played on that stage, and it's nice to go to Ronnie's and to be. It's nice to be recognized.
Yeah, well, it's great validation. Ronnie is just like, they're a choosy bunch who they bring into Ronnie's. You gotta be a certain standard.
Yeah.
I think that is a coming of age gig. If you're playing Ronnie's in kind of jazz circles, you kind of, you're one of the guys. You're one of the players. It's a great compliment. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's the thing. And the more as my journey continues, and I get to play in these iconic venues, I don't take any of it for granted, because music is a roller coaster. The journey of being a musician is a roller coaster, and you have to remember those highs, and also have to remember those lows, but try not to get too low.
Yeah, I agree.
But try to get yourself back up to somewhere close to where it might be your highs. So I am grateful for being invited to these beautiful places like here, to that where we're sat today, and to experience these amazing things. So for me, every single show is I take something amazing from it. and apply it to the next.
Are you taking your band with you? Is the same band you're going to be playing
Same
Ronnie
band,
soon?
yeah. Those guys are my guys. We play together. We're family, friends. We have a great time when we're on the road together, musically, collectively. Share our pains, our sorrows, our happiness, and so on together.
Didn't you do an orchestra gig as well, though, in
Yeah.
Italy? That must have been another big moment.
It was in Luxembourg.
Luxembourg.
Yeah, so we played the Luxembourg Philharmonie with Gus Walsing, Grammy Award winning conductor. That was special. I mean, I've done some orchestra, but playing in the Luxembourg Philharmonie, sold out show, symphony orchestra, 75, 78 piece orchestra. And I remember when that show came on in the books, I was like, I need to film and record. I want to produce this. So I got on the phone, calling everybody, anybody. I want to tell me what I need to do. Where do I sign? What do I do to make this happen? And I managed to do it. We filmed, we've recorded the whole show, the whole concert, and it's going to be my first live album.
And is it your songs?
My songs.
Just completely your songs?
A combination of all my previous works. So it would be a celebration of my 10 years of my music so far. Elements of it. I mean, what a way to
Amazing.
have a first live album.
Fantastic.
With a Grammy Award winning conductor, and we continue working together. We've done other orchestral performance show concerts in Germany, in Berlin, and so on. So I'm excited about that.
So who did the arrangements?
My arrangements
for the orchestra.
Okay, so I was lucky. We did a show in Berlin. I won't be able to pronounce the name of the hall because it's so the name.
Sure.
And Peter, an arranger, did beautiful, beautiful work, and that's where I met Gus, because he was conducting that show, and he fell in love with what I was doing, the arrangements, the performance, and everything else. And he was the one that invited me to Luxembourg to perform with him. So the arrangements were done by a combination of Peter and Gus.
Wow.
So then Gus took the rest and did the whole thing. So yeah, everything just kind of fell in place in a certain way.
So and then touring. Have you got more touring set up?
Touring, they're coming in already. I mean, as you know, the whole COVID thing was a big thing, especially the music industry got hit hard, really hard. Everybody had their experience of it, but we got hit hard, and still. At my level, I'm not a little fish, and I'm not a big fish. I'm some medium fish in the middle, and that's, I think, probably some of the hardest place to be, because this fierce competition there, in this level, and in that level, a lot of concert halls and so on. I've had shows brought forward. Tickets are still being held by the venues and so on. So at this level, there's still a lot of things that I need to get out of the way so we can then move forward. But everything's looking okay. It's been since everything's opened up. It's been kind of difficult. But I mean, 18 months without a concert. Man, I was beginning to think I was gonna, what am I?
Yeah, of course.
But I'm glad that we're back and we're doing shows again. So next year is looking great.
And on a personal level, your wife is Czech.
Yeah.
And we're obviously in Prague at the moment at dopeYEAH, the amazing dopeYEAH, and doing this podcast. So do you come back here a lot to Prague?
Not to, I mean,
or just to Czech Republic?
Yeah, Czech Republic, yeah.
She's not from Prague, is she?
Not from Prague, no. And I do come to Czech Republic. My son is Czech. He's a little Czech boy. A beautiful mixture of all kinds of beautiful things. French, Ghanaian, Czech.
Every kind of people.
She's also Slovak as well. So we do come to Czech Republic to visit family and so on. So I have a connection with Czech Republic, and I'm proud of it.
Because you met the the owner of dopeYEAH and our kind of visionary leader. He saw you, I think he saw you in Italy, didn't he, with his wife a long time ago?
No, last year.
Was it last year?
In Barcelona.
In Barcelona, yeah.
So I'm intrigued to find out a bit more of the whole story of things. But yeah, so I did Pedralbes. It's a hard way to pronounce this. It's one of the big festivals in Barcelona, and that's where I think he met me for the first time. And I think that might have a link to do the reason why I'm here.
Oh, it is. I'm pretty sure that I spoke to his wife last night, and she said they saw you and fell in love with you and thought you were amazing, and said you have to come and do a performance at the club here.
Yeah. So that's this organic thing's happening. I'm all about
right
that.
Place, right time. 'Cause it's, you know, Prague is an amazing place. There's an amazing music scene here, and you'll definitely have to come back. There's other venues as well besides dopeYEAH. There's the Jazz Dock, which is a great venue. I think it'd be really good for you.
I love the city. I got engaged here in Prague.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
On the bridge,
So on the Charles Bridge.
Yeah,
fantastic.
So Prague has a cool thing, and I love the city. I love the city. It's a beautiful city, and the life that people have, the spirit of the people is just so nice. So I'm invested in Czech Republic because for many reasons. But I'd love to spend more time here on a professional level.
Well, we're going to get you back soon, hopefully. And I think your music resonates with Czech people. They love emotional music here.
Yeah.
Heartfelt and full-on delivery is what you do. So thanks a million for doing the podcast with us. And, hopefully we get you back soon and we can continue another conversation, see where you've gone with your wonderful career.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thanks. Myles Sanko. How you doing?